There's a holistic approach to childbirth that helps mothers reclaim and celebrate the spiritual, emotional, and psychological aspects of birth as a rite of passage. It is both informative and transformative as it prepares your heart and mind for parenthood. I'm Nicole Morales, a midwife, doula, and childbirth mentor, and today we're discussing the basics of birthing from within. This is Preggy Pals, episode 18.
Is that a plus sign?
Pink or blue? Hospital or home birth?
What type of food should I be eating?
I think I just peed myself. I'm pregnant, and I have to exercise.
What pregnancy glow?
Wait, was that a contraction?
Gotta make these pants fit. I've got kinkles.
What do you mean there's more than one?
You've got the symptoms, and now you've got the support you need for a happy 9 months. This is Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way. Welcome to Preggy Pals, broadcasting from the Birth Education Center of San Diego. I'm your host, Sunny Galt. We would like to hear from our listeners. If you have a comment or suggestion, please call our Preggy Pals hotline at 619-866-4775 and leave us a message. If you have an interesting birth story, well, we want to hear from you. And I'd love to talk with you guys via video Skype about your story, and we'll include that video on our website for everyone to see. It's all about growing and learning from other people's perspectives and their experiences as well. So if you're interested in that, go to preggypals.com/submit your story and send us some initial information. Let's meet our panelists here in the studio.
Hi, I'm Jackie Kleber. I'm 25. I'm a birth doula. The due date with this surrogate baby girl is November 29th. I have one 3-year-old, and I am going for an unmedicated hospital birth.
My name is Misty Davies. I'm 33. I'm a gemologist. I'm due October 10th. It's a little girl, my first, and I'm hoping for unmedicated hospital birth.
My name is Kate Gittens. I am 29. I'm a sales representative for Pearson Education. My due date is August 30th, and I do not know the gender of our little one. This is my first child, and I'd like a hospital medicated birth.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Harrison. I'm 32. I'm a skincare professional with Mary Kay. My baby girl is due on the 11th of September. This is my third kid. I have 2 little boys at home, and I am going to have a water birth.
And you finally got your girl. I didn't know your other 2 kids were boys.
Yeah.
Yay! You give me hope, Rebecca, because I have 2 boys at home, and I am going for a third.
Oh, yeah, definitely. After this, I don't need to go for anything else.
All right, welcome to the show, ladies. All right, we're starting a new segment here on Preggy Pals. We are talking about pregnancy apps. It seems to be all the rage, and there's tons of companies releasing different apps out there. So we're going to do our own little review of pregnancy apps and see what you guys like and what you didn't like. And today I just wanted to open it up to the panelists. I asked them to kind of get out their iPhones here. They're all kind of looking on their iPhones now, about what apps they are actually using and, if they like them and what it enables them to do. So Kate, let's start with you.
Yeah, my favorite app is the Baby Bump app. It allows you to do a lot of different things. Each day it tells you something different about your pregnancy and what's happening within your body. And one of the things I really like about it is the journal. So each time that I maybe go to a doctor's appointment, I write a little note in there to the baby about what the doctor said. And you can actually email this to yourself and print it out for your baby book. So it's something that you can always refer back to. You can have your weekly photos in there. And then once you get towards the end of your pregnancy, you can it has a kick counter as well as a contraction monitor. So a lot of different things you can do. And there's actually a community site in here too where you can just learn a lot about what other people are, questions that they have and contribute to them. So something I've used every day in my pregnancy.
Wow. And was it a free app or how'd you find it?
Yeah, it's free for like the basic stuff, the information, the journal and photos and stuff. But then once you get further along, it's like $1 to add the extra stuff. So it's very cheap.
Okay. And you use a lot of apps. So you giving it a glowing recommendation, it actually means a lot.
Yeah, it's my favorite. There's a couple there's a ton more you can download. And Baby Center is another really good one that I like too.
Okay. And Rebecca, I see you have your Android out here.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you like?
Well, I have a bunch of apps for my iTouch. And so I don't really, since this is my third, I really didn't download anything new. The ones that I liked, it was with my first, I really didn't have, that was 4 years ago, they didn't have that many great ones. It's so weird to say, oh, it was 4 years ago, and
But it's
and it was like
technology.
Stone Age.
Yeah. Yep.
So I feel like we didn't even have phones back then. But so I had it on my iPod, and it was for it was just a kick count and contraction counter. Everything else I kind of used online, just because I couldn't find anything that I liked. So I'm actually interested in looking at the baby bump. I just downloaded it.
So do you guys use it when you're bored? Do you use it? Is that what it is? It's a time filler, like when you're waiting for the elevator or whatever?
Yeah, and I think I like I said, I think my most favorite part of it is the journal, and that comes with it. It's free with the free version, and it really just, I look through it and I'm like, you can monitor your weight, you can monitor your mood, your cravings, and then what the doctor said about your appointment, or just how you're feeling that day, or if you just want to tell your baby something, and then you can just always save that for them. So it's kind of a neat.
And it's nice because your phone's always on you, usually, right?
Yeah.
And it's nice to have everything in one spot, because I was writing things down here, writing it down there, and then it's like, oh, where did it go?
Right.
So it's nice to have everything in one spot. So yeah, especially with your first, you're just so excited about everything. You're like, what the heck is going on? So it's definitely nice to have.
Right.
I wish I would have had the baby bump.
All right. Well, don't forget, Preggy Pals does have a free app as well, and you can listen to it on any device, including the Android, as well as the Kindle and Apple products. So they have great features like the ability to star your favorite episodes, as well as get instant access to our most recent episodes and social networking sites. So you'll never miss another episode. So download your app today. Thanks, ladies. Today, we're kicking off an ongoing series focused on childbirth preparation methods. Now, these are methods used to help empower you during labor and delivery. And in this episode, we're discussing birthing from within. Our expert is Nicole Morales, who appeared on our sister show, Parent Savers, to discuss how to heal after having a traumatic birth. Nicole is a midwife, doula, and childbirth mentor. So, Nicole, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I have to be honest, I don't know a lot about birthing from within, so I'm really excited to learn more about this. And the purpose of it is to really educate women who may want to take a class on this eventually. And I know you do teach classes on this as well. So let's just start from the beginning with this. What are the main principles that you teach in birthing from within?
Birthing from within, I'd say the first principle is working with coping skills, coping tools. Finding out what you already have in your bag of tools. Also developing new ones in class, and we use experiential learning. We all hold on to ice and talk about how are we going to cope with different things that arise in labor. So that's one of the first ones. The second one is that labor isn't just a physical experience, and it's not linear necessarily either. It involves a lot of things as you walk through the journey of labor, however it might look, because the thing is, we can generalize about what labor might be like, but there's, every birth is so unique. But as you walk that journey, that encompasses a lot of emotional and physical and mental things going through that journey, and for some people, very spiritual experience as well. So just having that realization that as you walk that journey, you might have these moments of doubt, unknowing, fear. Right. And how are you going to work through that? How are you going to move from one point to the other when sometimes you don't even know what to do? Yeah. So that's I'd say some of the principles. We also look at it from 4 different perspectives: the mother's perspective, the partner's perspective, the baby's perspective. A lot of times, the baby's perspective of childbirth is always, it tends to be left out in this culture. Right. So we do that as well as from the cultural point of view. Right. So, and we work with women's fears as well.
Okay. Now, prior to, today's episode, had you guys heard of Birthing Within, our panelists here, and what had you heard or?
I had heard about it, but I didn't really know what it was. So I'm curious to get more information. So
yeah, and Rebecca, you've had a couple pregnancies prior, so you tried other methods, right? What have you tried in the past?
Avoidance.
Okay, how'd that work?
It didn't work out so well. Avoidance was, I think, with my first pregnancy, because I was just so scared about it. I had heard so many different traumatic birth stories from my friends and relatives, and so as soon as you find out you're pregnant, everybody wants to tell you their story, which sometimes is good and sometimes it's not. So I just wanted to avoid it. I figured the day would come, but I wouldn't be there. But I ended up doing some stuff online, just looking up information. So that was definitely, I think I could have planned a little bit better. So with the second, I really wanted something different because I didn't get the birth that I wanted. So I found hypnobirthing, and I loved that. And so I think that this is something that, with more information, I'm big on education. So more information and education on my part will just give me the, this is my last baby, as far as I'm planning. And so I want it to be, something that's a little bit different from my last, but still equally as special. So,
yeah. So the big question, I guess, Nicole, would be, how does birthing from within differ from other childbirth preparation methods?
Well, it's really process focused rather than outcome focused. We really look at what the journey of childbirth, and rather than the perfect package at the end, I guess you could say. And I'm not saying that all of the different methods focus on that, but really about how to be aware and mindful as you are going through this experience. One step at a time rather than the whole thing, and where you're going and getting caught up in the end result, which of course we all want a healthy baby and a healthy family. But we never know what the birth fairy brings to us.
The birth fairy, I like that.
So it also in the type of education, we use a lot of experiential learning. I mentioned the ICE earlier for pain coping. And so we can start building on how you start reacting to your environment and the things that we're doing in class, and we can build off of that. We can also look at your strengths in the past and your own experiences, and how you already have different resources that you can utilize that you've experienced, and how can we bring that to fruition during your birth journey. So that's a bit different, is experiential learning. We're also not necessarily using the intellectual brain. Certain childbirth methods use the forebrain, the intellectual brain, for just, that's kind of what we see as typical if we look back to childbirth classes from the past however many years. Somebody's at the chalkboard and they're lecturing, and so we really don't do that. We integrate different things that use different parts of your brain, which is more where you're going to be birthing, because you don't birth in your intellectual brain. You birth in this mammalian brain, and so we definitely access that using art. We do art in class, and just mostly creative processes, storytelling, as well as, holding ice. So it's different because it utilizes different methods, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Are there, I know some of the women in here, for example, Rebecca's going for a water birth. Are there certain types of ways that we want to birth our children that lend themselves to birthing from within better, or no?
No.
Okay.
No, I'd say that typically the person who comes to birthing from within is looking at a natural childbirth, and that's usually who we get. But even somebody having a planned cesarean could benefit from birthing from within, because you're really looking at how are you going to make a sacred birth sacred. Your birth sacred no matter how you birth your baby, because there's not a right way of birthing, right, at all. In fact, I think that women who have births that they feel empowered by are sometimes ones who don't have know exactly how they want to do it, because we never know what happens within the birth process, and so. How do you make it, no matter which turn it takes, a great event for you? So
it sounds so wonderful and so peaceful, doesn't it? I love the idea.
I don't think it's necessarily the most. I think there's aspects of it that are peaceful, but also I think it kind of conjures this love warrior within moms. So it can be kind of a loud class, and we talk about losing it and how appropriate.
But it's
that
very
is.
Real. I think that's what I really like about it.
It's very real, and at times it can be kind of raw, and it's fun.
Like what? Something's going on, and the wheels are turning over there.
Oh, I just think that the interactions, and it's not also about what I might have planned. It's also about what people are bringing to class. So, class can change according to the people's needs in the class as well.
So you kind of roll with it, whatever their needs are.
Yeah, and we're also tracking people and where are they and what do they need and what are they asking for, and where are they going. And because you're mentoring them, and what resources may they not be noticing that they have that we can bring attention to, what's already working for them.
Okay, so it's very individual.
Yeah, it's individualized as a group. There's some solution focus, but those are more subtleties of what the mentors are doing, I guess you could say, as far as listening.
Right.
But yeah, we individualize it in certain ways, and we also play games. We have some role play games for labors with the birth fairy cards and the time cards, and play up what different scenarios can happen during labor, and all the parents have these cards to throw in the center as what things they can do with the different scenario that the birth fairy brings. And
okay.
So you do that, do some labor support.
Yeah, it's kind of like what if this happened? What if that happened?
Yeah, well, and then plus you have these random cards, so like 24 hours later.
Oh, help that woman. So what do you think is needed? I know you said that a lot of women that come to you or couples that come to you want a natural birth, but what is needed to be successful, do you think, at birthing from within, besides wanting a natural birth?
Oh, I think mindful awareness, like approaching it mindfully so that you're not going in with this idea that I'm not going to be there for my birth. and not to say that that's the thing is, we're laughing, but I think that's one way that we do cope is that we check out. Right. But what we're looking at is really being present for the birth of our baby and being connected as a family for the birth of the baby. I think that's quite important. But also, as a hunter, we're talking about gathering lots of information here, but we're also we're hunting. What do we want in our birth? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? And how are we going to get all those things so that we can get what we want and prepare for what we want, even if what we want isn't exactly what approaches us, but what's the next best thing? How do we make decisions when we don't know what to do? It's conjuring that love warrior. And, this is the time in our lives. You only do it so many times.
Unless you're Michelle Duggar.
and you only do it so many times, and it's really about seizing the day. Yeah. This is it. This is your time to really flourish, no matter how you birth your baby. Yeah. So.
I love the idea of viewing birth as a rite of passage. We mentioned that earlier in the show, and I don't know if I really viewed it that way. I think much more about the pregnancy as opposed to the birth, and maybe that's because, with this last baby that I had was a planned cesarean based on complications from a vaginal birth I had with my firstborn, and I just didn't want to think about what was happening as I was having the C-section because it wasn't what I wanted. Even though it was planned, and I think it was probably one of the best C-sections you can have if you have to have one. I tried to make the most of it. But, kind of like you, Rebecca, I just kind of wanted to check out because it was not something that...
Hard to deal with emotionally?
It was very hard to deal with emotionally. And I thought that, having a planned cesarean is tough because I knew that I had to have it right after I had my firstborn. So it was just one of those things. I don't think I ever fully coped with it. But I love the idea of really thinking about birth as a rite of passage. Like, this is how we come into this world, and it can be a very beautiful thing. But like you said, stuff is going to happen. How do we cope with that? It's not a perfect thing.
Yeah, and as a rite of passage, it's not just a birth, but it's also a death. And by saying that, and your whole family unit changes with every baby. You as a maiden really dies, and as a mother, you're born. And as a mother of two children, who you are dies, and you're reborn again as a mother of three. And so, that's also looking at how are you going to adjust your temple of family, in your life so that it can flourish. But also, there is this mourning that happens with each birth, and that's one way to see birth, is that really when you get to that moment that you're reborn in a way.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel that way? As far as when she was talking about having other kids, and every time you have a baby, it's like, you're right, that relationship that you had with your firstborn looked differently when your second.
Yeah, and I think it changes, like, sorry, I got all emotional while you were talking about that. I just think that for me, my pregnancies are so difficult, and I'm just really uncomfortable too. But so for me, it is definitely a journey, and it is something that I have surrendered to and planned, prepared for. So for me, that is a sacrifice. It is, my family is morphing. It is changing, and it's definitely a learning experience, and it's something that you really can't. I can't really fully express, but it is wonderful, and like there is that different transition after each one. With the first you only have one, and you're clueless and you have no idea what to do. With the second, you're like, okay, I've kind of been here before. And for me with the third, it's like, okay, I've been here before, but it's kind of bittersweet, It's like, okay, this is my last, or maybe it won't be, but that's what I'm planning at least. So it's kind of like,
and with that third though, there's something I think that happens where you just appreciate all of those little things for your baby, because you know how fast they grow up.
Oh yeah, my kids are getting huge. They're still little and they're huge.
What's the best way, Nicole, in your opinion, to learn this information? Because for childbirth classes, it's not always just about going to a class, but what is the best way to learn? What are our options, and then what do you think is the best way?
Well, the options are taking a childbirth class series. There's 6-week ones offered out there, 4-week offered. If you can't find one going on in your region, I know Pam England, who's the founder of Birthing from Within. She does them Skype, I think, from Albuquerque. She's amazing. So childbirth classes definitely. Also, you can access different things. She has a blog called Birth Peeps. You can do that. Also, a Birthing from Within book. So, just peruse the book and do a lot of the activities and really just spend some time focusing on this pregnancy. But also, I think one of the biggest resources is yourself. And, we don't always look inside ourselves as to, what our dreams are, what our strengths are, what our different coping skills are in the moment. How are we going to embrace this journey? All the different ways it could unfold. We're really looking at how you're already parenting and connecting with this child right now. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about what you can expect if you decide to take a Birthing Within class. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are talking about childbirth preparation methods. This is a new series we've launched on Preggy Pals, and today's focus is birthing from within, and our special expert is Nicole Morales. So, Nicole, I know you teach birthing from within classes. So let's talk a little bit about those classes. When should we start taking these classes? When's a good time in our pregnancy?
I think the best time to start taking classes is when your partner can start feeling the baby move. There's some kind of shift that happens in them when they can put their hand on your belly and feel that baby move. So anytime between then and when the baby comes.
Okay. Well, because we have 2 women in here who are about to pop. So
yeah.
Is it too late at a certain time? Do you say, I don't know how much you would benefit?
Well, you can't take a 6-week series. And I have to say that, there's different mentors who will do crash courses. But I do think that 6 weeks is nice because there's some sense of integration. That you grow each week, and then you kind of sit with it, and then you come back, and it spirals. It's like a spiraling education. So you sit with it, it sits with you, and then you come back, and then you're growing in what you're learning inside yourself, as well as as about different things about childbirth. So I prefer the 6-week, but then the other ones are fine too. And of course, you could have a crash series, if you're due tomorrow.
Do you have to have a partner in the class?
No, you don't. In fact, we have people who bring doulas or sisters or mothers or even come by themselves. I often have a doula who sits in through class, and so they can become, if there is any partner activities, they can join in. But no, you don't have to have a partner.
Okay.
So.
All right. And then how long are these classes? We said 6 weeks total, but I mean the individual classes. So when you arrive, is it 3 hours? What is it?
It depends. Some of the mentors here do it for 3 hours for 4 classes. It's usually around a 12-hour class. I do 2-hour classes for six sessions.
Okay.
So.
All right. And let's talk about what you experience in those classes. I know each class is different and it may vary from mentor to mentor, but walk us through what a typical class is like.
Oh, well, we all get together and talk and see if there's something that comes up in conversation. So we might move into talking about that. And then I guess, okay, so within a class, I guess you could say you have an appetizer, a side dish, some meat and potatoes or tofu and potatoes if you're a vegetarian, and then some dessert.
Okay.
So typically we get together, see what comes up, and then we'll probably hold on to some ice for a while and talk about what it's like holding that ice and what's working for people and what their mind does while they do things, and kind of connect that to what we've done before and at previous classes. And then we'll move into something like optimal baby positioning, how you sit in your chair, and how baby can be, in a better position, for birth. And so,
we're all adjusting our position in our chairs.
And then maybe something like we'll do a labor physiology or the models out there for the obstetrical system, like let's say Friedman's curve, where you're supposed to dilate a centimeter per hour past 5 centimeters, or the stages of labor, and then maybe do an alternative birthing from within model. Something like the labyrinth, for instance.
Tell us about the labyrinth and what that is.
Well, the labyrinth is something that people use in many different cultures around the world. It's multicultural. I mean, you find it in Peru, you found it in Brazil, and some of the government buildings in Brazil, and the cathedrals in France and in Ireland, and Native Americans have different types of labyrinths that you walk in. The interesting thing is cross-culturally, it is about transformation, or about the journey, the mindful journey. And it is a different representation than stages of labor or Friedman's curve, because, the nice thing about a labyrinth is different than a maze because it's one path into the center and one path out. And so it is a very good representative of childbirth because it's also about not worrying about getting to that center. It's about walking that path. And it's a well-worn path that we're walking, that labyrinth. As I said, it's been walked many times in different cultures. But, for the path of childbirth, it's also been walked by your grandmother and her grandmother and her grandmother. It's been walked many times, and it's well-worn. And as you're walking it, even though there's only one path to the center, sometimes there's this moments of, wait, am I doing this right? Am I going the wrong way? Am I closer than I think I am? And so these gates of doubt and fear and unknowing as you're going to the center are different things that represent our experiences, or possibly represent our experiences on the way to the center, which is birthing. And getting to the center, it might take 24 hours or 30 hours or 5 hours. I don't know what it will be for you. But once you get to the center and birth your baby, walking out can be 2 to 3 years. So you can be walking out and still walking in on another labyrinth at the same time, if you have more than one child. Okay. So that's the idea of the labyrinth. So we would do something like that, and then for a dessert for the class, we do something sweet, whether it be a video or a poem or a special nice ending to class. So.
As far as curriculum, so to speak, is concerned, are there certain things that you make sure that throughout a 6-week series you definitely hit on, and what are those things?
Definitely hit on different things with stretches and exercises in pregnancy. And some of this is personal because each person, personalizes. I definitely hit on nutrition. I tend to get people to write down what they eat for a week, and I deal with them outside of class. Okay. And just talk a little bit about blood volume expansion and importance of protein and excitement like that. Also do labor support, hands-on labor support, in class. That'd be positions, that'd be massage, get out the rebozo, and, do different things like that. As well as we definitely work with fears. Fears is really a totem in the sense that, we don't ignore them. And I think that's also another thing that might be different from other different childbirth classes, rather than, saying, oh, we're not going to, we're going to have this only listen to really great things. We're going to really listen to ourselves And fears are in this culture, we're affected by the cultural fears, which are pretty big. We're affected by the person in the grocery store who wants to download all of their birth issues on you. We also have our own intuition, and it's hard to decipher between all of those different things. So really looking at your fears and looking them straight in the eye, looking in all those little dark corners of the room and seeing what's there. And, if this decides to present at my labor, this is how I'm going to cope with it. And then you can shut the door and lock it. And then if it does show up during your birth experience, then you can say, okay, this is how I'm going to cope. So.
And I'm sure you get feedback when people, after they have their babies, and do they generally feel like, okay, whatever I was thrown at, I had the skills that I needed to be able to cope with that?
Yes, generally. Sometimes just knowing that you're not going to exactly know what to do is helpful.
Right.
But yeah, that there's a certain amount of resiliency, but also looking at those experiences and seeing those things that you did do right when the unexpected happened, or looking at it and being able to reframe the birth as it unfolds, even if it isn't what you expected, as being sacred, and instead of framing it as, a very cold hospital cesarean birth. It could be, wow, we had this great intimacy behind that curtain, my partner and myself, so that we could connect during the birth. And I'm lying down on this table, and it's not just a table; it's mud, and the energy of the earth is coming up through me. However, somebody decides to reframe it, but looking at different ways in which you can make it yours and claim it.
If you choose to do birthing from within, your typical patients or women, they deliver in hospitals, or is it home births? Is it all different types of just
for the classes? I'm also a midwife, and I do home births. So I have my own home birth world. Not that I haven't done doula work in hospitals, but for classes, it varies. I usually have a mix of home, hospital, birth center in the hospital, birth center out of the hospital. It's usually mixed. The class I'm mentoring right now is all hospital. So it's been a while since I had all the couples be in the hospital, but they are. So.
Is it helpful to group them like that, if possible, because there's more?
No.
Okay.
In fact, I think that the hospital couples are amazing gifts for home birth, and I think home birth couples are amazing gifts for hospital birthing families, because different questions are asked, and you're always like, it's good that they're learning about this, is what one person might say, but really they're also experiencing those things, because you never know what presents.
Right. So what are we looking for if we determine that we want to pursue, this type of childbirth method? How do we find a good mentor or educator in our area? What's your recommendation on that?
Go to the Birthing from Within website. That's the first place to start, is that you're going to see different mentors listed. Some are certified mentors. There's less of those. Those are people who've gone through a certain amount of years and a certain amount of training and gotten their full certification. But there's other mentors on there as well who are still in process. That's the best place to go, and give them a call. Talk to them. See if you connect. I think you should do that no matter what you choose, as far as what, whether it's hypnobirthing or Proudly or whatever. Call your mentor or your teacher and just talk to them and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and get a feel for them. See if that's something that you want to do.
What about moms that want a doula? Should they get a doula that's specifically familiar with birthing from within, or what do you recommend?
Well, I don't think that they should. I think having a doula is a great resource, first of all. I think what's important is that your doula is open to you howling and moaning and making noise and it's okay to lose it, and there's not a right way of birthing. I think that's the big thing, is that there shouldn't be this way of containing the woman. I think that there's sometimes important to have a container for birth, so that moms save their resources. But I think that there's another place of just appreciating that moms, there's that birth doesn't look a particular way or sound a particular way, that it can look many different ways. And just that their doula is mindful and present and that they connect with them. So,
okay. Very good. Well, thank you, Nicole, for being here and for sharing all this information with us. Of course, the resources that we mentioned on today's show, we'll be sure to put on the episodes page of our website. So we want to hear about your experiences when it comes to birthing from within. We can just share all this information. You can leave a comment on the website page for this episode. And you can also, if you do that, we'll enter you in a contest to win a free copy of the book Labyrinth of Birth. And it's from Pam England, which Nicole mentioned earlier, and she was talking about the labyrinth. So this is a book about that. Obviously, Pam England is the founder of Birthing from Within. Pam also has written a book called Birthing from Within, imagine that we will include in our online store. So those are some great resources for you if you need some more information. Before we wrap today's show, here are some maternity fashion trends.
Hello, Preggy Pals. I'm Crystal Stubendek, maternity fashion expert and founder of Borrow for Your Bump, where you can buy and rent designer maternity styles for a monthly rate. Unless you have an unlimited clothing budget, you're probably wondering how you'll get through these next few months of maternity dressing without breaking the bank. You want inexpensive choices that will still look stylish. In this segment, we will go through the must-have maternity wardrobe essentials that are versatile and won't break the bank. The first must is a good pair or two of footless leggings. A fit that is over the belly provides extra support and coverage, where a fit under the belly can feel more normal and familiar. Leggings are extremely versatile and can be dressed up with a long tunic, worn under a dress, or more casually for yoga and running errands. I recommend a black pair and a gray pair. Likely you will be living in these during and post-pregnancy, so it is worth paying for a high-quality style. I like the fold-over legging for the summer months or the underbelly cropped legging by LA Made. Another must-have is the classic white button-down. No need to invest in one, just sneak the comfortable and elegant top from your man's closet. Make sure to wear a size or two larger so it drapes and flatters your new shape. Dress it up with black tailored treggings by Seraphine for the office, or go for the classic look with cuffed boyfriend jeans like Jimmy Jimmy jeans by Paige Denim, and complete the all-American look with loafers. You can also add a belt if the style looks too frumpy. Don't forget about an empire waist dress. This is a style which has a belt or a tie below the bust and above the bump, and usually is long and flowing towards the bottom. This must-have dress is perfect for before, during, and after pregnancy. For a cute day version, try the braided halter dress by Maternal America. For a sexy night style, try the beaded long cocktail dress by Seraphine. Another must-have is the latest trend, tummy bands. These lifesavers create a faux waistband for extra coverage. Keep your back half from being exposed by adding the tummy band to many of your pre-pregnancy clothes, which will add a few more inches to many of your pants while you are in the transitional phase. The tummy band also replaces a cami tank top, which can be hot during the summer months. The tummy band acts as an extra layer, is made of a stretchy material which will grow with your bump, and is also breathable to keep you cool. And who can forget about the little black dress, also known as the LBD? This look is timeless and a fashion staple to any wardrobe style. Choose a high-quality material like thick cotton jersey or rayon, which will have plenty of stretch, and with the right fabric, you can enjoy this piece long after pregnancy. This dress can be versatile, from pairing with a blazer for the office or dressing it up with bold jewelry for a wedding. Cardigans are another must-have, especially longer tailored styles that can transform your outfit and keep you warm even during the summer months when the indoors can be chilly. Choose longer styles that have buttons or ties so that there is structure, otherwise you could look frumpy. Our favorite look to pair with a cardigan is any skinny pant. You can't go wrong with black skinny pants and a nude shoe, or even a pair of edgy skinny cargo trousers by Seraphine. The edgy zipper detail on the skinny cargos are offset by a soft look of a cardigan. Our favorite cardigan pick is the Elise cardigan by Nom, which has a fun dip dye detail. The last wardrobe must-have on our list is a go-to tee. There's nothing easier and more comfortable. Unless you have the body of Gisele Bündchen, hide your midriff by choosing long, stretchy styles that will grow with you. Those tees with ruched sides and a high-quality fabric are sure to show off your bump. And to add a fabulous feel to your basic tee, add a blazer, chunky necklace, jeans, and animal print flats. Transform your wardrobe with pieces that are comfortable, classic, and will last well beyond your pregnancy months. Don't forget to check out more maternity must-haves at borrowforyourbump.com, and be sure to listen to Preggy Pals for more great pregnancy tips.
That wraps up our show for today. If you have a specific question relating to your pregnancy, feel free to call our Preggy Pals hotline, and you can ask our experts. That number is 619-866-4775. You can also send us an email through our website. If you have an idea for a future episode, we would love to hear your ideas. You can email us through the website at preggypals.com. Thanks for listening to Preggy Pals, your pregnancy, your way.
This has been a New Mommy Media production. The information and material contained in this episode are presented for educational purposes only. Statements and opinions expressed in this episode are not necessarily those of New Mommy Media and should not be considered facts. While such information and materials are believed to be accurate, it is not intended to replace or substitute for professional medical advice or care, and should not be used for diagnosing or treating healthcare problem or disease or prescribing any medication. If you have questions or concerns regarding your physical or mental health or the health of your baby, please seek assistance from a qualified healthcare provider.
Hey, mamas. Don't forget to check out Mighty Moms. It's our online community built for new moms just like you. Not only can you connect with other moms, but you can also join us backstage for special mom-only online events. And you'll also be notified when we're recording, so you can join us as a special guest. Visit our website, newmommymedia.com, and click on the Mighty Moms banner. It's free. That's newmommymedia.com. See you there.